Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
Now, it was meant to be a routine clinical trial, but it went horribly, horribly wrong. 6 people were taken to hospital after an experimental drugs trial in France. One of them was left brain dead and died in hospital last month. 3 investigations are now underway. Our health and social care correspondent, Victoria MacDonald, has spoken exclusively to the brother of one of the men who died.
Guillaume Molinet was a painter, a singer, a songwriter, a poet. His stage name, his nom de plume, was Arthur Diesel. He composed, he performed. But just over 2 weeks ago, Guillaume fell into a coma and died while taking part in a drug trial in Rennes, in northwestern France. 5 other volunteers on the trial were also later taken to hospital.
In French, you said a bon homme. A good man. He was a really good man.
None of his family has spoken until now, and when we met his brother, it was clear he was still bewildered, in shock. Guillaume was a father of 4, a husband, a son, and the entire family is desperate for answers.
It was really violence, really. It was... everything was all right. On Sunday morning, on Sunday afternoon, and after then, phew.
What time was he taken to hospital?
I don't know. We don't know.
Biotrial was carrying out the tests for a Portuguese drug company on a compound being developed as pain relief in cancers and for Parkinson's disease. There were 90 volunteers, all receiving different doses. Initially, the family and the media were told that Guillaume had had a stroke and that it wasn't in any way related to the tests that were going on here. And that would have been a perfectly reasonable explanation, except for the fact that 2 days later, 5 more volunteers were taken to hospital. 3 of them, we were told at the time, suffering from permanent damage. The family has not had the results of Guillaume's autopsy, but I asked his brother if he thought it was a stroke or an AVC.
First, they thought that Guillaume had an AVC, but quickly they just find it wasn't an AVC.
That must have been awful for you.
Yeah, awful, yes, just nightmare. Just you see your brother in a bed, just telling to my brother, please, come on, we're leaving now. It's time for you to come with me. We're just leaving the hospital. But no way, my brother was just in his bed. It was really awful.
Un accident d'une exceptionnelle gravité.
Days after Guillaume and the others were taken to hospital, the French health minister described it as an accident of exceptional gravity, while doctors said 4 of the 5 volunteers had neurological problems ranging in seriousness. Channel 4 News has learned too that Guillaume was initially only meant to be on standby for the trial, but that one volunteer dropped out.
It told to me that I'm going to Biotrial on Monday, and I will be at home on Wednesday. I'm not going to do tests. As you said, it was just on standby.
3 formal investigations are now underway. The first is due out soon. It is extremely rare for a clinical trial to go wrong. They are carefully planned, they have rigorous controls put in place, they have all sorts of outside authorities having to give their approval. But when they do go wrong, the consequences are devastating. Biotrial told us they still did not know what had caused Guillaume's death, but they added,
the 5 volunteers are being monitored. One of them is not displaying any symptoms, although he has had anxiety issues. The situation is variable for the other 4. They've all returned home. Some of them are receiving rehabilitation. It's too soon to know what the long-term effects will be.
and Guillaume were not just brothers. They collaborated on their music for years, one composing, the other writing the words.
When I'm going to take my phone and just trying to call him, I think I will realize. For instance, I think it's a really nightmare. Yeah, I know. It's awful, really.
Some reports say Guillaume would have received about 1,900 euros for taking part in the trial. His brother insists he did it simply because he was curious. But why he did it? Well, it hardly matters now. It's what happened.
Victoria MacDonald talking to the brother of the man who...
I've been getting away with it all